State Secretary Dr. Nimmermann, dear Senator Dr. Leonard, dear Minister Shahbazov, dear Minister van der Straeten, dear Minister Melnis, dear Deputy Minister Dr. Demirkan, dear Ambassador Mitchell, dear ladies and gentlemen here and online out there, a very warm welcome to WindEnergy Hamburg 2024. And there it's written, we are driving the energy transition together, exclamation mark. That means in the next 90 minutes, in short opening keynotes and followed by 2 panels, we are going to discuss how to accelerate technology deployment, how to strengthen Europe's energy security, how to maintain industrial competitiveness and provide jobs in the wind energy sector. We'll be showing and sharing with you policy insights, and we are also going to challenge some of the policymakers' positions while taking the COP's objectives seriously to meet the Paris targets by tripling renewables by 2030 and achieving net zero in 2050. My name is Andrea Thilo, and I'm as well delighted as really honored to be the host for this session. And now I'm very glad to welcome on stage the 2 CEOs, Heiko Stutzinger and Uwe Fischer, of the fair here as hosts of the world's leading trade fair for the wind industry. Very warm welcome. Whatever is that? That's the turbines. I don't know. Okay, there's big industrial presence out there. First question goes to you, Uwe. I want to know, what does it mean for you as organizers to have such a big shot as the WindEnergy Hamburg in your whole portfolio?
Well, first of all, a good morning and a very, very warm welcome here to Hamburg at Hamburg Messe and Congress, of course. Well, we're absolutely proud and honored to host the world's most important and leading event in the wind energy industry. And this year, we're celebrating the 10th birthday. So it's another milestone, marking a milestone in our history. And as we have the leading companies, the thought leaders and experts here in the coming days at our venues, and they, of course, come with very high expectations to this event, it's important to exceed and fulfill the high expectations our visitors and exhibitors have. Fortunately, we're not alone to do that, because the wind energy wouldn't be possible without all the support of our partners and sponsors, and it's a good point here now to really take the opportunity to thank you all for your great and continuous support for this event. Wind energy is one of our most important events and plays a key role in the expansion of renewable energies, also in the city of Hamburg. And together with the SMM for the maritime industry and the Hydrogen Technology Expo in a few weeks, run by our partner TransGlobal Events, it is one of the Hamburg Big Three of energy transition. So our aim is to ensure that the wind energy expands its position here as the world's leading wind energy event and continues to be the meeting place for the industry also in the future.
Thank you very much. I'm bridging to you, Heiko. I would like to know, what are the most important needs dominating the trade fair this year, and how are you going to cover them?
Yes, so first of all, also a very warm welcome from my side. And here at WindEnergy Hamburg, we cover the most important topics of the wind industry, which are fasten seatbelts, turbine technology, digitalization, supply chain, grids and storage, project development, sustainability, of course, the promotion of young talent, and last not least, AI for the wind industry. And to support this, we have once again decided to bring the previously paid conferences into the halls on the show floor, and thus make the knowledge available for all participants at the trade fair. And here we are grateful for the support of our partners who are organizing all these sessions. So please allow me at this stage to mention the 4 leading industry associations supporting us, which are Wind Europe, GWEC, VDMA and BWE, who are our strong partners of WindEnergy Hamburg.
Yeah, and they are very strongly represented in the room, so to all of you also a very big welcome. You just named sustainability. What makes you so sure here that sustainability is not only lip service? What do you do practically at HNC? Yeah.
Complex question for 1 minute answer. I think, first of all, we need to be honest to admit that sustainability in the event industry remains an issue. and a challenge. However, we have embarked already years ago on a road to reduce our impact, and we will continue to do so. To give you some specific examples, we're using green electricity already since many, many years, and we're planning now solar panels on our roof, which is probably the biggest solar project in the city of Hamburg. We have more than 100 charging points for electric vehicles, which is more than many smaller cities in Germany have. We're including public transport tickets on our visitors' ticket to reduce individual traffic. And as you will notice, we've taken out the carpets on the aisles, on the hallways, and this saves us 21,000 square meters or 7 tons of carpet waste. So we see sustainability as a main driver for our future success, and we need to offer more sustainable services in the future because the demand is definitely there. In other words, there's a lot going on, and probably this is also the reason why we were nominated as Hamburg Messe and Congress for the Sustainability Award in Germany last year in our industry, and we made it up to one of the 3 finalists.
Okay, crossing fingers for next year.
This year we'll make it.
And talking about internationalization or the international audience we have, so many people in the room from all over the world, more than 100 countries at the fair. What can they expect during the next 4 days?
Yes, throwing some numbers at you. So we have over 1,600 exhibitors from more than 40 countries, 10 halls, 27 national pavilions. We expect over 40,000 participants from more than 100 nations. So top-class program, specialist forum, conferences, workshops, lectures, and to drive forward the development of the wind industry. And of course, it's about renewables here. And of course, we are also proud of these numbers. We have an amazing team, the pulsing heart of this trade show. And however, we must say a trade fair is nothing without human interaction and networking. So please also make sure you download our networking app, which boosts your personal ROI, and use our daily wine o'clocks, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5:30 at the open stages for cozy chat, a glass of wine and a snack. And so our trade show only lives through the visitors, exhibitors, key stakeholders, sponsors, so in short, you. So we would like to thank you all for coming. And for the next 4 days, Hamburg will indeed be the capital of the energy transition. And we wish you successful days of learning, networking, and deal-making here at WindEnergy Hamburg. Thank you.
We wish you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And I'm now very happy to leave the stage for our dear Senator for Economy and Innovation of the city of Hamburg, who has named Hamburg a city of hope for a decarbonized future. Very warm welcome, Dr. Melanie Leonard.
Secretary of State, Mr. Nimmermann, dear Minister van der Straeten, dear Minister Melnis, dear Minister Shahbazov, dear Minister Demircan, dear Mr. Mitchell, dear Excellencies, dear Li Xuan-Tek, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the opening of WindEnergy Hamburg, the world's largest event for the wind energy industry. Over 1,600 exhibitors from 40 countries presenting the latest innovations across the entire value chain for onshore and offshore wind energy here in Hamburg. WindEnergy Hamburg is also the second event in the exhibition cycle of the Hamburg Big Three of energy transition. Within just 7 weeks, Hamburg, known as the capital of energy transition, will host 3 major events with a focus on sustainable and green technology. Wind energy is a global issue, and only cross-border collaboration can make the ambitious goals of the energy transition achievable. The wind industry is at a turning point. The recent years, we have seen impressive progress. Technologies are becoming more efficient, costs are falling, and the acceptance of renewable energy is growing worldwide. However, climate change continues to advance, and the demand for clean energy is steadily increasing. We need to foster innovations as well as technology change and to share scientific knowledge collectively. Digitalization and artificial intelligence are key technologies in the wind energy sector and a major focus of WindEnergy 2024. By using these technologies, precise predictions of wind speeds and turbine condition can be made, optimizing the operation of wind farms and maximizing energy production. AI enables us to shift from reactive to proactive maintenance strategies, thereby extending the lifespan of wind turbines. This is not only economically beneficial, but also a significant contribution to sustainability. I would like to thank all exhibitors, speakers, and participants. Your dedication makes this fair what it is, a forum of exchange and driving force for energy transition. Let us use the coming days for fruitful discussions and interesting encounters. Thank you all for your attention, and I wish you all an inspiring and successful WindEnergy in Hamburg 2024.
Thank you very much, Senator. You just named cross-border collaboration. I think we are going to deep dive and tackle that topic definitely later in one of our panels. And now I'm very honored that we are virtually connected with Dr. Robert Habeck, Vice Chancellor and Federal Minister for Economy and Climate Action in Germany. We are very much looking forward to your speech, followed by 2 to 3 questions. Thank you very much for taking the floor, Dr. Habeck.
Hello everyone, and thank you for letting me do this
speech. We are working on listening to you. We try to organize audio, also the audio. We have a fantastic audio team, so we'll manage in a second. That doesn't reduce your speaking time. No,
I take as long as I can.
They do. Here you are.
Right.
Here you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But now I have a problem because I hear myself. Maybe you can mute me that I don't hear my voice in echo. One.
No,
thank you very much for having me and doing this little speech via the virtual connection. I apologize for not being in Hamburg. I have a conference here in my house with all the Balkan states and all the ministers for economic affairs of the Balkans are here, so I have to just run out and go back to my own conference. But I can say as much as a lot of Balkan countries really longing for renewable energy and wind turbines. So I do my job also for your business here in Berlin and try to promote renewable energy in many of the countries that still mainly run by coal power plants. I'm really sorry myself because I love this fair really, and I know it so very well. I would say it's part of my political identity. As some of you may know, I'm coming from the state north of Hamburg, the true heart of German wind energy, the state of Schleswig-Holstein, where also in the little town of Husum this fair was once founded. And I've been on this fair so many times, so I really personally miss not being in Hamburg. But I wish you all a great day or great days in Hamburg. This fair couldn't be more timely. Last time in 2022, when I was opening the fair live on stage in Hamburg, I pointed out that wind energy, renewable energy, but also now on this stage, wind energy is more important than ever. That was after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Russian aggression that still holds Europe under its thumb. But then at that time, energy security was the most important issue for Germany, for Europe, and also for my political work. And then, of course, we had a price problem. Therefore, I pointed out that wind energy is the answer to both. We produce wind energy we produce energy, electricity on our soil. We are, in a way, independent of supply chains of energy from other countries, and the renewable energy, the wind energy, is bringing the prices down. That has not changed a bit today, but is true even more. So from security reasons and from price reasons, everything speaks for wind energy. And I think that is where the world is standing, that from a political project, it has become an economic advantage to produce renewable energy by wind turbines. The third item for this fair, for this conference, and for wind energy is, of course, the driver that once brought these business opportunities alive, that is climate action. And with a look what has happened in the world, and also in Europe, and also in Germany, in the last months, we have to say and we have to admit that we are still too late. Climate action is the challenge of our time, apart from all the other crises and wars we have in our continent and worldwide. But when the books of history are written, my political generation, will be measured if we have taken up the battle, I would say, against global warming. And time is running. It's not a future threat, it's happening now. And this means that we have to increase our efforts to bring CO2 emissions down and give the generations after us to come at least a fair chance to copy with a warmer world. That means that every effort has a sense. It's not about if we reach 1.5 or 2 degrees, and if we don't, we have to be disappointed and just let it be. It's a big, big difference if we keep on the fight, the struggle for bringing global warming down, because that means that we can avoid the tipping point. Nobody knows exactly where this tipping point lies, but we guess it's between 1.5 and 2 degrees more than the beginning of the industrial age, but nobody knows it exactly. So every effort counts, and therefore this fair has to send a clear message that climate action still is necessary, more important maybe than ever before. More important means also that we have now the opportunity really to go forward and to achieve something, because your industry is so ripe. The turbines you are building, the efficiency you are creating has really leapfrogged forward in the past years. Once again, in the past years, the sheer size of the turbine is impressive, and the amount of renewable energy produced by wind energy is really a huge scale. In Germany, starting from 2022, last fair in Hamburg, I would say we have really taken up speed. Last year, the electricity produced by wind turbines was for the first time higher than the amount of all coal power plants in Germany combined, 27%. And we see an increase of renewable energy from last year to this year by 7%. So we are shortly beyond the 60% mark. Last year, first time, we reached 50% only by renewable energy, solar and wind in Germany. And this is just the beginning, not the beginning like we're starting, but we are restarting. You may know that in the years before I took on office, the installation of renewable energy, especially wind energy, really was falling down, has decreased, and we were in a valley of not installations. Now this has changed tremendously, and I have to admit, better than ever hoped. When I became minister, I announced that our plan is to install 10 gigawatt onshore, only onshore, each year. And tell you what, this year we will reach these 10 gigawatt in the auctions. We have now auctioned 7 gigawatt only in this year. The last auction round was for the first time the highest round ever done in Germany by 2.7 gigawatt. And another one is yet to come. So after 2 years of hard work, we are on track. It is possible to install 10 gigawatt onshore wind in Germany, and it is going to happen in the next years, in brackets, if we not once again do the fatal mistake of changing everything, the laws, the ambition, the political ambition, and the regulations. Close of brackets, we have an election to come, but it is possible. And we have shown it is possible to speed up the energy transformation, especially in the field of wind energy, but also solar, as you may notice when you look and drive or fly over Germany or drive through Germany. On offshore energy, it's the same picture. We have now a capacity of 9 gigawatts installed. Last year, we auctioned the same amount again. 8.8 gigawatt. This year we have auctioned 8 gigawatt. This will come into place in the next years to come. So the aim is, and we are shortly before reaching it, to have 30 gigawatt offshore only in the North Sea, in the German North Sea in 2030. That will increase to 70 gigawatt in 2045. And that is only Germany, 70 gigawatt in 2045. The whole amount of North Sea cooperation countries will add up to over 300 gigawatt in the next 20 years to be auctioned and installed in the North Sea. So, of course, we are planning to combine the forces. We are the host, I am the host next June, also in Hamburg, of the North Sea Energy Wind Conference. We try to create a common North Sea grid. We try to develop a common approach for hydrogen projects in the North Sea. That will be the Northwest powerhouse for energy, in this case, wind energy, renewable energy. So you see what has changed in the past 2 years. 2 years only, I would say 180-degree U-turn in the approach of renewable energy. And I'm really proud of what we have achieved. We means the federal government, my ministry, the people working there, Philipp Nimmermann and Patrick Reichen, who has taken on office before him, but also the states, the different municipalities, the different offices that are working together. I would say for the first time in German energy history, the political side has done its job. It's not, of course, we can do always better and do procedures even faster and combine it and get rid of bureaucracy. But for the first time, I would say the bottleneck is not the political side. It's not the political side. Now it's the practical side. Now it's about transportation, manufacturing, installation. Now the bottleneck might be transformators, cables, and shear the workers doing the job. So that brings me to hand over to this conference the real work on the ground. That is you. You are the ones who are making political plans, actions. You are the ones who are giving practical examples of what is going well and what has to be done better. I can assure you from my side personally, but also for Philipp Nimmermann and all the other guys here in this conference, we assure you that we keep on track and will even increase the space of bringing up wind turbines in Germany and offshore as fast as we can. We have reached progress, but this progress is only the push for doing better in the future. Let's do better together in the future. Have a wonderful conference, and next time we see each other in person, maybe on the North Sea Conference in Hamburg in June next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister. What a pity we cannot discuss with you, because I think that there's nothing to do on the political side. That might be questioned later, so we are very happy to have Dr. Nimmermann in the panel later.
I haven't said it's nothing to do. I've said the bottleneck.
The bottleneck. Okay,
side.
never quote a minister wrongly.
Every day.
Okay. Now, from the bottleneck to these leapfrogging steps forward that you have named numerously now. To sustain this transition and this sustainable move, there are some things needed. And I really want to know from you, what are the biggest challenges and how will you address the most pressing ones?
Well, I would say I see two main challenges. The first one is that, of course, it makes a difference if renewables are pushing renewable electricity into an existing system. So 20 years ago, I would say every kilowatt hour counts because it's pushing out fossil energy from gas power plants or coal power plants. Now, over 50% in Germany, the renewables have to create a system stability out of their own. That means we have to look at the market design. That is the job we are doing now, mainly creating a market where renewables are the backbone, not the surplus, not the footnote, but the backbone of the energy system. So we are trying now with the so-called Kraftwerk strategy, power plant strategy, to create the first steps of a capacity market in Germany. but that will be fulfilled in the next year, I would say, and hope so. But the market design also for the renewables is maybe the next big challenge, but it's a necessary challenge because, as I said, it makes a difference if you have only 5% or over 50% in a system. And the second challenge, I would say, is the production side. I mentioned that energy security is of highest importance as a reason for renewable energy, but this is counting also for running the system. So the competition is fierce in the business of wind energy. And of course, we have to look into the system itself, that we have control over the distribution of energy, because this is a security issue also for myself. So that is difficult. How can Europe protect in a fierce world its own interest also on a security, with a view to security in the field of renewable energy?
You just talked about security. For a second, I would like to talk about that. In the light of fluctuating energy prices and geopolitical tensions, how will you adapt the strategy, the wind energy strategy, to still meet the climate goals and ensure the safety and security issue?
Well, the climate goals, I mean, that was the job 20 years ago, and the success is maybe bigger than ever expected. Let me give you a number. In Germany, in the next years, some 10,000 windmills run out of the EG supply scheme. So they produce electricity, of course, but they don't get the EEG feed, the feed-in tariff we have invented in Germany, 10,000 windmills, roughly speaking. These are small windmills, maybe 1 megawatt, maybe 500 kilowatt hour capacity. If we build 10,000 new windmills with the capacity you offer today, 6-7 megawatt, we have done our job. So that is only possible, 10,000 out, 10,000 in, because your development, your invention of new technology was so successful. Therefore, we can reach the climate issues that we just gave ourselves as a homework. 80% renewable by 2030 in Germany, and then produce a lot of hydrogen to bring the last 20% also in times where wind is not blowing and sun is not shining into the system. The challenge now is to secure the energy demand out of the system with 80% renewable energy. That is what I talked about. Capacity market, new forms that energy is used cleverly, more flexibility in the system, but also on the off-take side. That is what we are working on right now.
Very last quick question. Our energy transition in Germany should have served and serve as a model for other nations. What would you advise your colleagues internationally not to copy from Germany, to do differently? Quick answer.
Don't phase out of everything, coal and nuclear, by phasing in something. So the biggest problem in Germany was that in the past years, not enough power and effort was done to build something new. The grids, for example, of course you have to distribute the new form of energy. In 2021, roughly 300 kilometers of grids were new built and permitted. Now it's 1,700 kilometers this year. We reach maybe 2,000 kilometers. So you see how much a political effort can change things. But phasing out of nuclear, phasing out of coal, and not building grids, not building renewables, that's the biggest problem. So don't phase out of everything by not phasing in or bringing something new into life. But you see, it's possible. Let's make it happen.
Message understood. Minister, thank you very much for this fantastic connection with you, and we wish you all the best for your own conference, where you go right back now. Thank you very much.
Enjoy Hamburg.
Thank you very much. Now I'm very happy to leave the floor for Tinne van der Straeten. She's Federal Minister of Energy Belgium, for her short welcoming address, and then we dive more or less, wherever. Yeah, you can choose this one or this one, you're free. Tinne van der Straeten. Yes, it's on.
You and the headset is on. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, Philip, and also Caspers and Robert in Berlin. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine it's the year 2050, and you are standing at your open office window if you start early in the morning, and you look out over a city with clear skies and no smog. Birds are chirping as electric cars, buses, and also maybe a bus or a truck glide silently through the streets below. And you remember a time not so long ago when it was impossible to open a window during rush hour. The air was filled with pollution, and the noise of vehicles made it very hard to concentrate. And today, you can realize that the energy transition has changed our lives. It's not just about tackling climate change. It's about comfort, it's about health, and it's about quality of life. The integration of new technologies has improved our daily lives. But maybe you will also remember the difficult times, the climate crisis, the COVID pandemic, and the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine. The struggle to regain energy independence from fossil fuels, often controlled by dictators. And maybe you will also remember the ambitious targets that were set at the different North Sea summits. 120 gigawatts offshore wind by 2030 and more than 300 gigawatts by 2050. Enough power to power every home in Europe. Our ambitions are huge, and rightly so. And 2050 is closer than we think. It's just around the corner. So it's very important to focus on the present day, on next week, next month, and on the years to come. And collaboration for this will be key, as demonstrated at the different North Sea summits. In Esbjerg, the first, Ostende, the second, and next year in Hamburg, the very third one, with a deep focus on further intensifying our collaboration. It's very crucial, these different summits, to realize our vision of the North Sea and the other sea basins across Europe to become the power hubs of Europe. And that's also why I'm very happy, proud, and also honored to be here today and announce that our offshore wind auction in our Belgian small part of the North Sea, that this auction will be launched on the 28th of October. This is a month and 4 days from now. It will be the first 700 megawatts that will be tendered as from the 28th of October in the newly to-be-built Princess Elizabeth zone. This auction, which will go in 3 phases, the first 700 and then coupled by 2 others with more than 1 gigawatt, they will mark a crucial step in Belgium's journey towards energy independence and also climate neutrality. By 2030, when we are done, when all the wind turbines are operational, 3.5 gigawatts, these North Sea wind farms will generate enough electricity to power every Belgian household. 28th of October, so that means that we need to hit the ground running, and we will. It's like Robert Habeck said, we are done with our regulatory design, and now we will hand it over to you, to the sector, to take it, to work with it, and to come with a very competitive bid. Our auction is not just about building huge wind turbines in the North Sea. It's about so much more. It's about social and economic welfare. That's why we included citizen participation into our auction as a mandatory requirement, because we wanted to make sure that also citizens through renewable energy communities can benefit from this electricity. It's also about investment security. That's why our auction comes with a capability-based, two-sided contract for difference, the first one in Europe to be approved by the European Commission. It's a pioneering one, so take it, work with it so that it can be copied outside Belgium. And it comes also with a very ambitious building period, 48 months. And this is because we need this electricity being produced to be brought to not only people's homes, citizens' homes, but also to our industries. That's also why our auction comes with not only a capability-based two-sided contract for difference, but coupled with PPAs. It's all about creating electricity, investment security, welfare for not only Belgium, but Europe as a whole. Of course, our journey is full of challenges. And one of the biggest hurdles is the power grid. Robert Habeck also spoke about it. And the backbone of the energy transition will be this very strong and reinforced power grid. And it is becoming more and more a major bottleneck. Some bottleneck that we cannot easily fix and not fix with easy solutions or one-off solutions or quick fixes. In Dutch we say, and probably in other languages also, gentle healers make stinking wounds. And this is why we need this deep and strong focus on grids today. Because this bottleneck today threatens our decarbonization goals and the competitiveness of European industry. And without significant expansion and modernization of the grid infrastructure, renewable projects will remain stuck, unable to power the energy future we need. And not only renewable energy projects will remain stuck, but it will also hinder a unified European market, because grids connect markets to each other, connect countries to each other, connect also countries to countries that are neighboring us, like the Western Balkan, where Robert Habeck is meeting now. And by establishing common standards and supporting less developed regions, this will be crucial for our competitiveness and cohesion across Europe. It's also Mario Draghi's report who is highlighting this. He highlights that sustainable competitiveness requires a very ambitious energy transition. And in my opinion, the link between reduction of CO2 emissions and also economic growth is electrification. Electrification for the next years to come is very crucial. And for electrification being so vital, keeping our electricity grids not being a bottleneck is absolutely crucial. And that's why we need to work so hard on this grid issue. Dear ladies and gentlemen, and I'm standing here before Kasper from Latvia and also Philip from Germany, the severe energy crisis in Ukraine has had a profound effect on me and on all of us ministers across Europe. And it still has, because we are still again preparing a winter in Ukraine. And Ukraine today is still having this major crisis with energy infrastructure being bombed by Russia. At the same time, there's also Mario Draghi's report. It's also a very important wake-up call. And these two external events, the illegal invasion of Russia in Ukraine, together with Mario Draghi's report, I think these two events need to guide us throughout this week. Our path is full of challenges, but together we will succeed. We have come together already in the past. As Europe, it was a dream of Europe without war that created the European Community for Coal and Steel. Energy as an enabler of peace and prosperity. And today, again, we face this grim reality of war in Europe. And in these troubled times, renewable energy and an interconnected Europe offers us rays of hope and a dream, an action of a better Europe. We have done it before, and we will succeed again. And I wish you a very good week here in Hamburg, and then go home and work on this Belgian bid for our Belgian offshore wind turbines. Thank you.
I really like your body language, so like that, yeah? Go home, and so thank you very much for your hands-on and very encouraging outlook. Now, we are bridging to the first panel, the first of two, and the only one that is standing in the middle between the panel is the last and very quick keynote by Dr. Philipp Nimmermann, Secretary of State for Energy at the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Germany. So, sticking to the time frame, Dr. Nimmermann, that would be great. Thank you very much.
I heard the the mentioning of a short keynote, so I will make it as short as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, dear distinguished honorable guests, forgive me for not mentioning you all individually. Thank you very much for inviting me here, and let me just take my first impression. I think the energy in this room and probably in the whole fair is enormous. You can actually feel that we are doing something which is really important. I think that's always important to mention again, because we talked a lot about, and my minister talked a lot about climate action, and Tina also, and the necessity. But these days, there's also, I think, a sentiment where the discussion goes, do we really have to keep up the pace? Is it not also important to respect economic growth? And yes, both is important, but both is important. We have to tackle those issues, have to strengthen our economies, but I think we can only do it if we can ensure a secure energy supply for the whole future, for the long-term future, and renewable energies, I think, is still think and believe is the key supply of this energy. My minister said already that wind energy is on track. It's not as good as someone planned beforehand. We do see a solar boom in Germany, and we actually have reached our targets already for this year, although this year hasn't finished yet. And it's really important that the wind industry and the wind energy is keeping on track, because if you don't synchronize wind and sun, the whole system integration gets quite difficult. So ideally, we need now a bit more wind to be a dancing partner of the sun, because the sun is not shining all day long, as we all know, but wind can blow all day long, 24 hours, depending on the wind direction. So I think I'm really happy that, as the minister said, our tenders are working really well, the permits are working really well, we're on track, and let's say 24 months later, we probably see the installation as well of 10 gigawatts, very important, and we have to keep that track. Offshore wind is also working well. All the auctions are going. It might get quite difficult to get the offshore grids on time, on the first exact time, but we're also working on that. That's a bottleneck issue, and it's good to talk with industry participants who are here to talk about supply chain issues as well and other challenges internationally. And as Robert Habeck has said, for us, it's really important. We are building on the innovation power of the wind industry. And it's really important that we can produce, with this, let's say, the same amount of regional space, more wind energy. That is really important. But also to keep all the technology in Europe, because it's a long-term project. So, being an economist, I'm really in favor of competition, but it has to be a level playing field. We have to make sure that there's no foreign subsidy involved, and we have to make sure that critical infrastructure has to be protected. As I'm just talking about cybersecurity, data security, very important. So the Net Zero Industrial Act, which shall be implemented in Germany as well, will focus on that, on pre-qualification criteria and other issues. But I think we're working on that and building on that, and I'm looking forward to discuss all this with industry participants later this day, and also look around in the fair and see how individual producers, how their innovation has proceeded. For us, Tina, you've said that it's really important to think in the cooperation, actually collaboration, that's the issue. Not just talking about doing something together, but doing something together. So you've laid all the ground we've announced European tenders for the offshore wind industry and organized cooperation projects. And I think now the next aim should be to get measured by specific collaboration projects, aiming at saying, let's say 10 gigawatts of European collaboration projects by 2030, or by whatever date you want to do it. Because, I mean, we have to think this globally. We have to harvest the wind energy from all the regions, because the wind has a different wind profile. The sun is not shining at the same time in every region, so we have to harvest renewable energies, and we can only do that with collaboration and interconnection. Interconnection with the electricity grids, collaborations in the North Seas with collaboration projects on offshore wind, and perhaps with green hydrogen as well in the future. So that is really important. That will be one of the major subjects in the next Head of State Summit in June next year here in Hamburg. And the second one, Bill, we have to talk about financing. collaboration is always difficult if you don't agree on how to finance it. And therefore, we have to talk on a financing mechanism, on a European one. How can we organize this collaboration? And if 2 countries or 3 countries, for some reason, because there are lots of external effects, don't get all the funds together, I think the European Commission should come up with an idea how to fill that gap. So that will be the second big issue we will be discussing, also with the new Commission from whenever they are in place next month or so on. So I think we are on track. We could get more speed, but there's more to do. I think it's good to have more aims. I wish you all a great day today. I'm looking forward for the conversation, and the rest will be said on the panel. Thank you very much.
If you were so kind, State Secretary, to take the second seat to that side, we are very happy now to discuss how to accelerate the energy transition, not only with you, but with Kaspar Melnis, Minister of Climate and Energy from Latvia. Very warm welcome at the very left side, if you were so kind. Good luck. In the middle, color blocking with me, I really love that, will be Bärbel Heidebrook. She's CEO of Landwind Group, and she's the president of the German WindEnergy Association, BWE, and vice president of the German Renewable Energy Association, BEE. Very warm welcome, Bärbel.
Thank you very much.
And then we have Udo Bauer, CEO of Enercon, representing the VDMA power systems in Germany. Very warm welcome. Here also in the middle. And we are summing up and creating the circle with José Luis Blanco. He's CEO of the Nordex Group and chairman of Wind Europe. Very warm welcome in Germany. So if you were so kind to take the stool here. It's incredible. We have 14 minutes for such a big topic. So let's not run. Let's take time for depth. So, State Secretary, did you say everything what you could say and should say if we want to accelerate? What else has to be done and to make it very hands-on?
I think we've done a lot already in Germany, where we we pushed the European Commission to extend the emergency regulation, which worked, so they extended it for another year. That's good. And now we need to implement what's said in the Renewable Energy Directive, RED III. We're in the process of implementing that in Germany, and what I can only say to other countries, be bold. Try to go to the limit and try to not just implement it one-on-one, try to push it even harder to improve permits and to speed up the time, because time is money. The shorter it takes, the less costly the project is, and the cheaper will be the energy at the end of the day. So be bold, try to implement it, and now, once the legislation is in place, we obviously have to work on how to incentivize and perhaps enable the local permitting authorities to actually live the spirit of the new legislation.
Live the spirit. Okay, we come back to that later. Minister, talking about Latvia, how far and with which speed are you getting away from Russian gas? And in this transition, what role does the wind energy play?
I would say we're already gone from the Russian gas. It's already done. It's already done for 2 years, so we don't have any conversation about it. Of course, when you get out from one sector of energy, the question, what will you change in the sector? And then the biggest player is wind energy. And always we wanted to go faster in wind energy. I totally agree. But sometimes we understand in our sectors, when you start the sector moving forward in the beginning, it's very important to not make some faults in the beginning or mistakes, because it's very hard to fix them later. So sometimes I agree we must always go fast, but sometimes for the first important projects, it's very important to go great. And it's great from other sides, first to be proud of it, but secondly for society. Because we understand society have quite huge discussions. We need it, why we need it, what will be the impact? And just simple question, well, looks, and what will be the benefits. So that's why it's important for the first projects we concentrate to be great ones, that we could be proud, and then we understand that will be easier for whole sector to move forward. The society, the people will always find, oh, we have that one great project, and that will be, and the local people say, yes, we are very great, we are very happy with that, and that really helps. From our side, it's always like, would be the best way when the municipalities are, I would say, fighting for the projects. They wanted, the people wanted, we want the same, we want to choose the wind park. So Sometimes I would say yes, we always want to go faster, but sometimes I would say let's do it step by step and maybe not rush too much sometimes.
Bridging to you, Bärbel, what are the challenges, the main challenges that are related to grid connection queues, and how to overcome them?
Well, Minister Habeck and Mr. Nimmermann already mentioned it. Grid expansion has been very insufficient and very slow in the last years. So we really have to speed up now. That's really important. And well, we decided to build a lot of subterranean grids due to the exception to public acceptance. We had a lot of discussion of it. We know that they are much more expensive and it is much slower to build them. So we maybe in some parts have to discuss it not to open the discussion again, but we have to decide where we can build subterranean grids and where we can build the other grids. Those are 2 points. And let me make a second point. German grids are pretty stupid in comparison to other European grids. We can use them in a much more efficient way, using temperature correction, we have to put up the question if we really need the N-1 law, we can use them in a much more efficient way. And the third point is, as you already mentioned, we have to over-install grid connection nodes, what means we have to install solar and wind at the same point, including storage capacities, to use the grid in a much more efficient way. I think that's really necessary to make grids more intelligent and less expensive. And the fourth point is that we have to use all kind of flexibilities. We have to install storage capacities. We have to flexibilize the payment of grids. We have to decide if it is really necessary to have always the same payment on the grid. So we have to encourage flexibility. That's the main issue, I think.
State Secretary, German grids are stupid. Anything you want to add in order to change that?
We want to make them smart.
Okay, quick answer to that. So
That's
do
a
you
quick
agree
answer. Now, what we
with
do, or what we already
Bärbel
have
said?
done, I think that's the first government who has done that. We are optimizing grids. We are allowed to run grids on high temperature, which also has external costs, but we find a way how to compensate for that. We have to make the whole grid more intelligent. As you say, overplanting is an important one. Discussions how to reduce any cost. But the important thing is we have to think about the system. Everything we do from now on has to serve the system. That also means that renewable energies have to take up their role as now being a mature adult in the energy system, from being an adolescence where they could sort of do what they do and try out something, perhaps uncoordinated. Now it's time for the renewable energy industry to take up the responsibility to also serve system beneficial services and plant yourself there where it's actually beneficial and make the grid, the whole system, smart.
Being now a grown-up, not an adolescent, that brings me back to you, Kaspar Melnis. Latvia has been working with Estonia, I only learned through this opening, on a hybrid offshore interconnector project that should be going online 2027. Could you tell us a bit about the processing and what maybe you see as a potential for other similar projects?
We are working and we are, in the fall stage for more to look how the impact on the environmental, and it goes step by step, but like I said, we're going step by step. At the same time, even though we have a lot of discussions why we need it, what will be, because interconnections, we see the offshore wind project, of course, the big one, Elvin. So there's a lot of questions, and that's why we are more working. And from our side, that's even why more important for us to make the first project, like I said, it's very grateful and very, we could be proud, because that's what gives impact. For us, when you are in the beginning, first of all, it's huge possibilities for you, and it's huge, I would say, pressure to make it well. And that's why we're going maybe, sometimes it's very interesting, what's mean go quick? For each other, for each of us, is what's mean quick for somebody. 2 months is quick for somebody. 2 years is quick in some sectors. So I would say we do a lot of new regulations, and we see that in nearest, we hope 3-4 months, all regulations will be done. We do all the homework, and then the sector is, I would say, done. we done all what the sector wanted from us for regulations. And now, as we will say, now we are pushing the sector forward. We say because we done all from the politicians.
Now,
we do what, yes.
Yeah, that's what we hear the whole morning. Now it's you.
Exactly.
Yeah, now it's like,
And but most important is, of course, the key for this is conversation and to have dialogues. And because sometimes for our politicians we see one problem that we need to solve, but the sector needs totally different problems that you need to solve. So it's very important not just to see the goal, but see together how you reach that goal. But you go together.
So let me bridge to you, Udo, because what I would like to know is, from your perspective, Enercon, what are the key factors that you consider when deciding to expand the manufacturing base in Europe? Do you see the same challenges and obstacles as the politicians?
I would start with a general statement.
Please, let's start.
The industry can and will deliver. There will not be a bottleneck on the supply side or on the supplier side. You will see it in the next 2 days here on the fair that the industry is prepared for that. So I don't see a bottleneck. So all technical solutions are in place and ready to use, and this is what you will see. We have a significant pipeline of new orders into the supply chain of the OEMs and the suppliers, and all of them are prepared for that. So just a general statement in regard of a bottleneck. So second one, it's really important.
Yeah, that's your applause. I don't want to stand in the way.
It's very important that framework conditions also get discussed. One thing is, we have still problems when it comes to delivery of the turbines. Now that means we need better infrastructure, and this is, I can tell you out of the last 2 years, bridges, roads are not in the conditions that you can really speed up in that manner that is just asked for.
Which country are you talking about?
I don't want to mention
Okay.
that.
Okay.
The other one is simple transport permits and authorizations. That is still a topic. We are faster, no doubt about it, but when it comes to the pipeline that we see in the ramp-up of the next years to come, that's not fast and not good enough. Grid expansion, I have to say something that has to keep pace with the rest of the pack. I see it in the other way around. Energy system needs a framework that minimizes hurdles and allows efficiency in transformation. One important point is what I'm missing personally as Enercon is investment programs from the EU or from the member states must be easier to apply, fit for purpose, and that will really give us a boost when it comes to the ramp up and follow their expectation. My personal note is production Europe should be rewarded, that I don't see up to now. We need a harmonized approach in all member states and at least on the EU level to really scale up the economy in the years to come.
Okay, can I ask who of you agrees with Udo? Okay, no hands up, but applause. Okay, what means it has to be made easier? Does it mean less bureaucracy?
Exactly.
Okay. So we have so many challenges already on the table. We have 3 minutes to talk further. What are the challenges that haven't been addressed yet from your perspective, Jose?
Very difficult being the last speaking and after listening to ministers and Secretary of States and my colleagues from the industry. I think everything was very much said. I think after the Ukrainian invasion, we were really concerned about energy supply. Then raise the points about energy security. Then we work in Wind Europe, the association with the different national associations, with different governments, with the Commission, to put a legislative framework in place, because good ideas without a skeleton of legislation doesn't help. So you need a legislative framework, which was in place. Still needs to finalize and conclude. This legislative in place was implemented by many countries. Germany is one very good example. From a very good example of the key acceleration, and a very good example as well of what not to do in the future. And this was addressed by Minister Habeck. In the future, the feed-in tariff was a very successful case that, thanks to I would say, fast and maybe not properly deep analyzed change, put our sector into tremendous pressure. So now finally Germany implement the overarching and overriding public interest boosting permits, boosting auctions, boosting everything. The government is fully focused and determined to make that. We as an industry, we follow. Yes, small things need to be improved. Government is working on that. So for me, the biggest challenge going forward is to make sure that the market design that is absolutely needed is done in a proper way without creating as well a stop, because it took us a lot of time to accelerate. We hope that there are many other European countries will follow German example in boosting permits, auctions, volume, and so on. And the key aspect now is let's not slow down with the market design.
We got that. We got that. Coming from, well, you could go deeper into market design. We don't do it due to time reasons. Last question. We only have a minute time. Maybe 2 answers. Social acceptance. You talked about subterrestrial grids. So that we see the elections in Germany. So the question of how to accept what is going on, you have such a positive narration. How to heighten this social acceptance? What are your answers and what are your tools? Anybody who wants to step into that question? Please. Belle, you go first and then Caspar. Yeah.
I think there are 2 points. First is participation and then benefits. I think you have to inform people about what you are doing on the sites. We have really positive experiences with calling the people to the site to see the construction grounds, to explain what you are doing there. That is 1 point, and benefits is the other point. There's a really good German law what offers 0.2 cent per kilowatt hour for the community, so they can do with the money what they think is good, and we really experience that is really a good idea.
And that changes the not in my backyard perspective?
I think the not in my backyard perspective has changed since Ukraine war. I think there's people understood that we need renewable energies only for climate reason, but also for safety and independency.
Minister.
First of all, totally agree with conversation with society, but only maybe not in my backyard. It's very interesting when you ask for people, we all want cheap green energy. But when you ask, okay, if you already live near, then it's not in my backyard. It's still the same question. For our side, we find the solution, what we could do from the best, what we could find it, it's investment in local municipality for the wind project. We have it put in a law and regulations, to everybody be clear, and clear for investors, what is the rules of the game for municipality. And I would say in this moment, when the municipalities have quite challenging the budget time, it helps a little bit. Even sometimes they already spend the money they even don't have yet. But it helps, but it's more help from clear, honest regulations, to honest, I would say, rules of the game, to understand everybody. And it's, I would say, and this was really hard to get the compromise. Because everybody, of course, municipality wanted more, local people wanted more, and for investors, we understand we can't push too much, they want lower, but we find it, and I would say that is what we're putting up quite, will be great, I think.
Thank you. I wouldn't say your last sentence, but your last sentence at that panel. State Secretary.
I think apart from having regional welfare issues and participation, it is still important to, I think, as our issue and our challenge as politicians, to explain to the people that the transition to renewable energy does actually increase your security, your energy supply security, and not decrease. I mean, we at the moment are importing, we have been importing 7% of our energy, have been importing it. And according to our scenarios, in 2045, this ratio will only be 25%. So we will increase security, and that's only due to renewable energies. And we have to take a bit of the worry that the new world is so different and everything is in danger now. It's exactly the opposite around. You have to explain the dance between renewable energies and detachable capacities, how they work together. But this time renewables are the one in the lead. Before, and the other one was in the lead. So it's a new dance, and you have to really explain it to one and to take away their fear. And that you have to reduce the fear and uncertainty.
So I take the image of dance. Thank you all very much for this collective dance. And for your participation in that panel. You talked about that finance is very key, so we are now bridging. I don't want to shuffle you from the panel, but we have some more people to welcome here. As you all know, Azerbaijan will host the 29th COP from the 11th to 22nd of November. And now we are very honored to have a keynote by Parviz Shahbazov. He is the Minister of Energy of the Republic of Azerbaijan since 2017, and we are very much looking forward to a panel of 20 minutes being followed by your keynote.
Vielen herzlichen Dank. Ich denke, ich werde heute der Erste sein, der Deutsch spricht werden. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, zunächst möchte ich allen Organisatoren meinen aufrichtigen Dank für die Einladung zur Teilnahme an der WindEnergy Hamburg aussprechen, sowie für die besondere Aufmerksamkeit, die Aserbaidschan als Gastgeber der COP29 und auch als Land mit einem der weltweit größten Offshore-Windenergiepotenziale gewidmet wird. Nun gestatten Sie mir bitte, auf Englisch fortzusetzen. I have, sorry that I, for the international participants, that I started in German language, but I spent a lot of years working in this beautiful country as diplomat and wanted a little bit to demonstrate my German language. Azerbaijan, through its transformative development strategy until 2030 and the new energy policy that prioritizes green energy, has accepted renewable energy as a unique and effective solution for ensuring a safe climate and energy security in the future. Today, Azerbaijan is a country that successfully provides and promotes investment and global cooperation necessary for rapid development in the field of renewable energy in the region. Thanks to the favorable investment environment and efficient cooperation, our 2-gigawatt green energy projects are financed by international investors. Investments of around $2 billion, as well as our partnership with the world's leading energy companies, will allow us to increase the share of renewable energy in the installed capacity to 33% by 2027. So the timely and problem-free integration of these power plants into the grid, the financial support was provided by EBRD, World Bank, and the government for the strengthening of the grid. The Caspian Sea wind potential of 157 gigawatt has stimulated the realization of mega projects and green energy corridors through global cooperation, which ensure that Azerbaijan becomes a green energy supplier. Offshore wind sectors have already been identified for the 18 gigawatt of electricity, green hydrogen, and green ammonia projects to be implemented in stages in partnership with international companies until 2037. Relevant works have been started on 3 green energy corridors that will export the renewable energy resources of Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Central Asia to Europe through the Caspian Sea, Black Sea, and Turkey. In particular, the Caspian, Black Sea, Europe Green Energy Corridor is a project of strategic interest to the EU in the context of its plans for hydrogen import and energy security, where the demand for electricity will increase by 50% by 2040. Political support, as well as extensive cooperation opportunities for the production of equipment for wind power plants, hydrogen energy storage systems, and the realization of green energy corridor actualize the further cooperation stemming from our MOU with the European Wind Energy Association. Using this opportunity, we invite German companies and also European companies to participate in the wind energy projects being developed in Azerbaijan. Your expertise and innovation would be highly valued as we work together and we will work together to advance renewable energy and sustainability in our region. Azerbaijan currently carrying out the responsible mission, the presidency of COP29, which promotes global investments and solidarity-based cooperation in the green energy transition. Our Eurasian-scale activities have shaped the energy initiatives of COP29 aimed at eliminating bottlenecks for achieving net zero worldwide. Green energy zones and corridors and green energy storage and grids pledges, as well as hydrogen declaration initiatives, set new global commitments that aim at building interregional green energy connections by 2030. They suggest six-fold increase of global energy storage potential to 1,500 gigawatt, adding or refurbishing more than 80 million kilometers of grid to the overall system by 2040 and developing the hydrogen industry. We believe that if COP28 proposed the goal of tripling renewable energy and doubling energy efficiency, COP29 will be the platform to support the achievement of these goals. By establishing a sincere and result-oriented dialogue with all parties, Azerbaijan will do its best to advance the COP process, ensure effective climate action, energy transition, and conclude COP29 with successful results. In conclusion, I would like to thank everybody for attention and invite you to actively participate in the COP initiatives. Thank you very much.
If you were so kind to come here. We take you by your words in a second when we start the panel. I'm now happy to introduce to you Girish Tanti. He's the Vice Chairman and co-founder of Suzlon Energy Limited and Vice Chair of GWEC in India. Very warm welcome. If you were so kind to line up like that. So I think you are to my side. You are exactly here. Then I'm happy to introduce Tek Chuan Lee. He's the Executive Chairman of Enterprise Singapore, the government agency championing enterprise development to build capabilities, innovate, and internationalize. So if you were so kind, to come to his side. We are joined by Dr. Zafer Demircan. He's the Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources from Turkey. Very warm welcome. And finally, in the very middle, Andrew Mitchell, the UK ambassador to Germany. Please, here in the middle. So, 15 minutes to go. I want to restart with you, Minister. You said we are doing our very best in Azerbaijan. So let's talk about money. You said it's important. And as the host of COP29, we really want to know, hands-on, what does Azerbaijan plan to leverage the platform to advance global cooperation in financing the energy transition, especially towards renewable energies?
Thank you very much. Indeed, finance is a core topic for COP29, and it has been already confirmed by the international community, and all our efforts now are directed in that direction. And so the new collective quantified goal is going to be identified during COP29. Of course, we cannot predict now what it will be, but it is clear that the last one, which we had $1 billion US annually for the climate action, will be, in our view, increased. To what degree we will see, of course. Another, and of course, if we have more money for the climate change combating, it means that, of course, the renewables, the energy will be in forefront. Another issue is the carbon market. So due to the Paris Agreement, Article 6. So we have to elaborate on that. There is an agreement that there should be single, well-regulated carbon market, but it is not yet in place. So we have to work on that, and this is another topic for us now, which will be, by the way, will give another impetus to support especially developing countries, which will be able to use for their benefit the trade in the carbon market. And also I can add that it was the special initiative of Azerbaijan, the Action Fund for climate finance. It's intended to attract oil and gas, fossil fuel producing countries and companies to come together and establish a fund, which will be then used for the development of renewable sources of energy. So these kind of actions are in our plan, but of course with the coming days and weeks before the conference and during the conference, we are hoping to get more results for the renewable
Okay, we are
source
looking
of
forward
energy.
to November. You have been nodding, Mr. Lee, when he talked about carbon mechanisms, carbon price. I want to know from you, Singapore is an incredible, important financial hub for the whole world. So can you talk about the role of Singapore with regard of the renewable sector?
Yeah, so the starting point is that Asia as a whole can move a lot faster in the energy transition. And in particular, I think Southeast Asia is lagging a little bit on that front. 90% of the green energy resources in Southeast Asia remains untapped. And yet 70% of our energy consumption is still from fossil fuels. So in Singapore, being a financial hub, we want to be able to mobilize more finance to hasten this energy transition.
How do you want to do that?
In a few ways. One, we want to bring more concessionary capital into the game. At COP28, we announced what we call FAST-P, which is to raise up to $5 billion in concessionary and commercial capital for Southeast Asian energy transition projects. The second thing we want to do, actually, is to provide advice to the governments in the region on how they should structure their projects to make sure they are financeable. So we actually set up a company under Enterprise Singapore called Infrastructure Asia to provide free advice to help governments structure their green projects in a financeable way. And yes, they have been very, very successful over the last few years.
So what would you advise Germany?
You have been doing very well. Okay,
so we are okay.
We are learning from you.
That's good. Did you hear that?
And the third part of it is we want to bring the project developers and the investors together. And we have been doing quite a bit of this. In June this year, we hosted the IPAF Green Economy Investor Forum.
That you still remember these names?
Yeah, it's a long name. It's a long name.
Yeah.
But we managed to surface $23 billion worth of green infrastructure projects from the region and match them with investors. So we need to do a lot more of that because we need to get the money flowing. The reason why I nodded with carbon credits, I'm so glad the minister spoke about it, is because I think it's a very critical area to make many of these projects financeable. And I think it's an important area that we have not worked together as globally.
Yeah, but how can we? But this is a serious question. Does anybody want to take the question? How can we work? It's about bridging, collaboration. We talk about that all the whole morning. How can we get faster in that topic in a collaborative mode?
Yes.
What is your answer to that?
So we need to have more harmonized standards. And we need some of the credits to be able to move across borders. Europe has, of course, a very, very developed and mature market, and they are leading the world in this. The rest of the world is not quite there. And somewhere we need to find a practical way to bring everybody on board, probably not to the same high level of standards as Europe, but in a practical way so that at least we can move forward and get the whole world actually moving forward in energy transition.
Thank you. I'm bridging to you, Ambassador. I just learned through the opening that the UK now gets 20% of its electricity from wind, and you are planning, if I'm right, to invest 155 billion pounds by 2030. Can you elaborate on that, on your plans?
No, very,
It's
very
okay,
willingly.
no computer. No, maybe you
just
take
recreated
your
the
tablet.
North Sea here. And I'd just start by saying I was last here in 2018. And I think probably a degree of perspective is quite important. In the course of that period, we have doubled our offshore wind capacity, 30 gigawatts from 15 gigawatts in that period. It took us 26 years to build the first 15 gigawatts. And I think listening to the debate, everything is always urgent, everything is always today. But we should recognise that we are learning a tremendous amount and actually doing a tremendous amount to drive all of that forward. I mean, I would point obviously to the contracts for difference, the double-sided CFD mechanism that we've developed, and I think it's probably fair to say, we would certainly say this, that we have also learned as we have gone, as we've developed this mechanism, but it has been absolutely instrumental to that development. We've just launched 5.3 gigawatts in the last round, auction round 6, which includes Hornsea 3, of course, the world's largest offshore wind park, and now really excitingly, I think, and I was there reasonably recently, 464 megawatts, Greenvolt, the largest floating offshore wind farm. So there's lots to talk about as far as the future is concerned, but I do think it is also worth us just taking a bit of a perspective on how far we've come and, frankly, what we've learned.
Okay, taking this bit and bridging to Turkey, maybe you can give us a short overview of where do you stand in Turkey with the transition towards renewable energies, maybe your perspective.
Thank you very much. Actually, after the Paris Agreement, all countries take a new position for the energy, actually, to make net zero carbon economy. And also Turkey have put an ambitious targets for these purposes. And as you know, most of the carbon emission coming from the energy sector. And Turkey take a decision, very radically decision to convert to all the economy carbon neutral economy to 2053. And also we have prepared a national action plan for the energy and how can we success this transition, how can we success this transformation. Actually, as you know, transition is temporary situation and all transition should be completed the transformation. And we should change all traditional approaching for the energy. I started my career as a younger energy expert in regulatory body. During that in the past, we make some calculations for the security of supply. There is a demand side, there is a supply side. We have calculated, we have do some analysis and what amount of the energy we will need for the short, long, and medium term, and we do something with the fossil fuels. It is easy way to make security of supply by using the fossil fuels like the coal and others. But this is very seriously path has been already done after the COVID because the fossil fuels is not actually secure way to make for security of supply, and also there is another game changer, climate, and we should convert all the energy culture as a renewable side, and we have prepared our national plan according to national plan.
Can I have a question to that, to the national action plan? Is that bringing the money needed into the sector? Is that really working, facilitating as you expected? Can you tell us just a quick answer and then I bridge to Lucy?
Yes. Not only Turkey, all the countries will need more money for these purposes actually. And we should find another way to make financing of these renewable investments. Maybe carbon emission trading system is one of the way. But I believe that my personal idea, I believe that public or private financing is not enough for the success of these climate targets. Let me say some, I remember from some statistical reports, globally we need the $5 trillion for every year to be able to reach the 1.5 Celsius degree targets for the climate. How much globally we are making some investment currently? 1.3 billion. It means that 4 times we should increase the oil renewables.
That brings me to you, Girish. What are the innovative financing models that are really effective and that you would pick out to say that is to get to that goal, to really see the world changing?
Yeah, I think here, we can look at this at 2 levels. I think one, we have to kind of take it at a global level, as the Minister was saying, that we need, the global funding to come together, and COP is a nice kind of get-together where such key decisions at a global level can be done. Different multilateral, bilateral engagements which can bring together different kind of big funding arrangements which can help the energy transition move in a faster way. And there are countries which need this more than some of the others, and I think it's important that we take the whole climate fight at a global level and get all countries involved. So there are more complex mechanisms, carbon being one of them. Several of those which can be very effective in making that transition, because as we just kind of, I agree with what he's saying, is also that in terms of the delta that we have between what is required to be invested versus what funds are being allocated, there is a big gap. The more innovative work which is happening more at a operational level now, and I think that's growing significantly fast, is on the areas of the markets which have already kind of developed and are wanting to go in a further higher. So there we are seeing that one, we have the sovereign funds, countries themselves allocating larger capital for green transition, not just for their countries but across the world, and taking that as a global challenge. Then I think there is this low-cost funding which we have from the insurance market, the pension funds, which brings in, there is a huge amount of allocation there which can go into the green transition to bring in that stability that we need for a long-term planning. The other innovative areas where we are seeing good progress happening is on the on the open markets in terms of the green bonds, where I think larger capital flow and larger participation of the investor groups, the ESG funding which is there, and I think more innovative approaches are coming in that. And we are also finding that in some cases where pure viability is a challenge, or you need that support for various governments to come in from a viability gap funding. And also innovative structured financial models are coming out, which are a combination of quasi-debt equity kind of models. And I think another big wave that has begun, which still huge amount of work can be done, is on the, purely on the green banking. Right now we see a lot of banks talking around it, but, really making that big change in that space. So there are several models.
Okay.
I mean, I can go on. But
okay,
yeah.
I take and pick 4 buzzwords. The important role of COP29, green banking, green bonds, pensions, and insurance fund. You have been nodding, you two. Yeah. So anybody who wants to step in of you two, into if you agree or not.
Please.
You're so polite.
Well, yeah, no, I do. I was nodding the point about pension funds and green bonds. Because I do not think that if we rely on banks alone, given how they're regulated and given their investment horizons and risk appetite, that they'll be sufficient to actually close the gap entirely. But there's substantial investors in the pension fund space who are prepared to come in and fill that gap. I do think that we need to complement them with other types of investors, philanthropy, governments, development agencies who are prepared to accept a bit more risk and perhaps a lower rate of return for a bigger social good. If we can blend them together, I think we have a good solution.
Yeah, I'd simply make the obvious point that this is the critical challenge. We need the financing mechanism in place in order to be able to precipitate the kind of large-scale deployment of green energy globally that essentially is then the precondition for the transition from COP29 to COP30. And the Minister has, I'm sure, all of our very, very best wishes with that. It's a big challenge, but it's a hugely important one.
Yeah, and we want to know from you, Minister, maybe you can answer that. What are the mechanisms that you use in Azerbaijan? I'm not talking about COP, I'm talking about Azerbaijan itself, to leverage this transition towards renewable energy with financial systems and mechanisms.
Right, of course, we have been, actually we were the first country in the world producing oil industrially. So it has been for many years that we have been producing oil and gas, and we could use the part of this means also for developing renewable source of energy, what we are right now doing. But I can bring you the example that we have, as a government, we haven't paid a single cent for these 2 gigawatt of renewables which have been creating from the recent years in Azerbaijan, because we have attracted the international investors, energy companies. They, of course, before that we had the special reforms of the energy sectors. We provided for the conducive, new laws and regulations, and favorable regulatory framework is there. We have, of course, put some investments in the strengthening of the grid. It was our contribution in this business. It was very important, modernizing our grid. But at the end of the day, financial institutions trusted us, and energy companies started business in Azerbaijan in the sector of renewable source of energy. And by the way, we are going not only to provide for the energy supply, I mean green energy supply for ourselves or for region, as I have already mentioned, also for Europe.
I apologize very much now to interfere because time is up and our journalists are waiting for the press conference. I feel very unhöflich, to name a German word. I'm very sorry for that. I want to thank you all in depth for your contributions. We wish all the best for the leapfrogging effects of COP29. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Now,
Ambassador.
Very best
we
wishes.
bridge to a very important
Thank you very
moment.
much.
We see each other back in a minute for the photo,
Thank you.
but we need you out
One,
of the
two,
image now for a second.
Minister, all right.
Thank you very much.
So,
Very
great.